By a new scenario. President Jacob Zuma, former president of the ANC, had established a party, Umkhonto Party. We characterized that party angrily as a communist party and said this it's a counter-revolutionary offensive against the ANC.
Do you still maintain that characterization?
Of course, we still maintain that characterization. We have not changed from it. What we have simply said is that whilst we may have had this characterization, it is important that we understand the base of the MK party. As the base of the movement, of the liberation movement. These are people, for instance, one of my political commissars is a leader in the MK party, who trained me in politics. He's a leader in MK party. So we're not just talking about people who have no understanding of the ANC. We're talking about people with a deeper history of the ANC itself, including its former president. It doesn't mean that we agree with the action that they took. So our posture to them should be different. And that's what, for instance, the party has said that let's nuance this posture. Then we said, okay, we're faced with this counter-revolutionary offensive from within the movement. But equally, most critically, we are faced with a counter-revolutionary offensive from outside the movement, led by capital, organized through the force of capital here, the DA, which harnessed and coalesced a variety of political forces called under the banner of the so-called Moonshot Pact. This was not a normal coordination, no, fully planned. And throughout the campaign, unfortunately, the media, yourself included, never covered our elections campaign. But everywhere we went, we spoke about this thing.
Yes.
The meeting in Gdansk, in Poland, in June last year, that was the precursor to the Moonshot Pact here in South Africa. That meeting in Gdansk, in Poland, organized under the banner of the European Solidarity Center, an institution that deals with European Union under the guise of a non-governmental body, pulled together 50 African leaders, coordinated by the Brandt's Foundation here in South Africa, led by Greg Mills. And in this 50 component of African leaders, 15 were South Africans. Of these 15 South Africans, amongst them were Ruth Meyer, the last Minister of Defense of apartheid regime, was the leader, current leader of the IFP, Mr. Tlabisa. Was, of course, what was his name? Greg Mills, the director of the Brandt's Foundation,
Yeah.
and senior journalist. Amongst them, Dr. Mpumelo Nkabela.
But he's no longer a journalist.
No.
He's no longer.
Former editor.
Yes.
Former editor renounces his journalism. Never. It's impossible. Former editor of the prestigious Sowetan,
Yes.
our people's paper. Of course, Dr. Ray Hartley.
Also no longer a journalist.
Yes. Now with a director at the foundation, the Princess Foundation.
Yes.
The foundation of the Oppenheimers, by the way. I think it's important to highlight that.
Yeah.
A former editor of the Daily Dispatch, I think Sunday Times as well, if I'm not mistaken, but I can be corrected. But a well-known journalist. And the current editor of the Daily Maverick. Is it Bijik or something?
Branko. Yeah.
He was there. And then Steinhazen of the DA. Tendai Biti from Zimbabwe, who also came here to attend a nail and garden workshop to condemn the liberation movement. It was headline on SAFM. His condemnation of the liberation movement on the continent. basically saying why people should not vote for liberation movements. In other words, why people should not vote for the African National Congress.
Yeah.
Not only that, in that delegation of African leaders, amongst others, was the leader of Renamo in Mozambique,
Yes.
was the leader of UNITA in Angola. These are forces that colluded with the imperialists and oppressors of our people, in which in these two countries, a relentless war against Portuguese colonialism was launched and thousands of lives were lost. So they put the plan and they executed here effectively through the democratic process in South Africa, headed by the DA. Intention to hit the ANC hard so that it doesn't reach 50% plus. It was on this particular basis, this counter-revolutionary offensive organized by Capital, which further expressed itself during the elections period. If you take, for instance, the third quarter of the IEC political party funding report, as well as the fourth quarter of that IEC political party funding report, you'll see what we're talking about. The contributions of the Oppenheimer family, the brothers, Nick and Jonathan, and the sisters, Rebecca and the other sister, how much they were giving money to the forces of the so-called Moonshot Pact, the IFP. I've seen a couple of weeks ago, the IFP on trying to justify and defend their donations from the Oppenheimer family. It's unjustifiable, by the way. Themselves, the DA, that is IFP, the DA, BOSA, Action SA, and many others who have been funded by the same source. Not only the Oppenheimers, there are others, Marshall Guy, who's also funding them across the board. Of course, there will be one instance where one of these groupings will put their money into the pot of the IEC for distribution to party political funding. But the message has been clear. Capital, having reached a crisis of profitability, and could no longer allow the ANC to continue leadership of society without further guaranteeing this profitability. The ANC was facing too much pressure from the masses, and still does, to, if you like, transform their lives as a liberation movement. And of course, to the extent of the crisis of profitability of Capital, and that how they harness their resources to remove this political movement in order to replace it with one of their own, so that they can continue nonetheless with the rapaciousness, in fact, the roughness of the capitalist system to oppress our people. They achieved it by bringing us down below 50%. And the party at that time took a decision that when a movement is faced with such kind of a scenario of a twin counter-revolutionary elements, we cannot abandon ship. We cannot abandon ship. It may have been tactically or strategically incorrect and so forth. So we said, no, we'll stay with the movement right up to the end and contest the elections under the banner of the African National Congress. In other words, sorry, this was an important explanation for this reason. In other words, we have no members in the Government of National Unity as a Communist Party. None of the members in the Government of National Unity are come to us. Neither has it happened before that our leaders who were serving under the banner of the African National Congress are counted to us as a Communist Party. None. It has never happened.
Yeah, but you see on that one, just before you continue, sorry to interrupt. Much as that is correct, but it is also correct that they get appointed into the executive on the basis that they represent the Communist Party. Although they are deployed and appointed by the ANC.
That thing, it's a organization building, the unity of the movement. Yes. Because the movement is not only the symbol. The strategy of deployment of the ANC it's widespread. It accommodates all sections of society. And it's not just about communists. The ANC has got communists and non-communists alike.
Yeah.
Therefore, in its representation in society, it will have communists as the ANC. ANC members in their own right. So we should never at any point make them lose their membership of the ANC because of a sector of society that they come from. The ANC has got people from the LGBTQI, Q+, people from disability group, from the professional sectors, from all streams of society, women, youth, and everything else, demographics, races, and across the country and stuff. So all of that represents the totality of what the ANC stands for. It must be like that. It should remain like that. But the ANC has never given us the right. At one point we asked when President Zuma took power, when we sent Comrade Blade to government, it was a decision of the Central Committee to release him to government. I was in the delegation that went to say we are releasing the General Secretary of the Communist Party to government. Now, we discussed with him one aspect. We said, are you able to give us one ministry? But we never even said it must necessarily be led by him. But we said, give us one ministry. The ministry that can work to deepen the cultural identity, the ideological identity, the political identity of our people, and begin to assert independence and freedom of the African people, of the youth, the former colonized, the former oppressed, how they should now come aboard and say, we are leading ourselves. So we said, give us arts and culture. We said the rest are important as well, but at least allow us to have a Minister of Arts and Culture accounting to us. He said no. We respected that. Now I can tell you, during the secret negotiations, the DA proposed what they called sealed agreement.
Yeah, sealed mandate.
Yeah, sealed mandate or agreement. They wanted their leaders, they needed to be in cabinet, but not account to the cabinet. I mean, that's the guts of these forces about unconstitutionalism. They didn't care. They felt that his file, for instance, because cabinet is governed by the concept of secrecy. His file of whatever proposal that they come with will come to cabinet, processed, go through. Because it has gone through cabinet, whatever is contained as a full mandate of the DA will be respected.
Yeah.
But we are glad that part the ANC rejected it. So this was very important that it was rejected. So with all of these things, including the fact that, by the way, when we could not contribute to that statement, we asked to participate in the GNU framework engagement. We asked to send a negotiating team, which
was rejected.
No, it was accepted.
Okay.
Yeah, but our members were never invited to any of the single meeting. So it's quite clear. The thing that I was talking about here in my notes in March about the so-called secret talks that were taking place has now been reaffirmed a few months down the line. But you know, as we say, history cannot hide the truth forever. History has got the leniency to society to expose the truths all the time. And that's what we're encouraged by, that one day, when the truth comes out, it will reward us that we were right. And that's all we can take credence to. But we missed a strategic moment in this regard as a movement to disentangle ourselves from capital. Because capital that had forced us to be where we are by trying to punish us every time we wanted to take a strategic move to empower our people to really liberate ourselves. It has frightened us about the state of the economy. You will hear unleashing all messages about what we will become.
Yeah.
We've been likened to many other countries recently, to Zimbabwe, that will go the Zimbabwean route and this and that and that. And of course, it's a big lie, because capitalist investment here it's much more than it had in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
It's different. And therefore, its control of South Africa's economy, it will suffer major loss. But at the same time, we need the leadership with guts, and I don't think we have at the moment, that can tackle capital, that cannot subject a 20% party to behave as if it has got an 80%, and a party with 40% behaving like it has got 20%. This is shocking us. And of course, no justification whatsoever can make us reconsider our positions until the ANC recognizes the strategic error and mistake it has committed.
Is